Have you ever wondered how some people manage to rise from the ashes of adversity, stronger and more determined than ever? This question holds a power that can transform lives. Adversity, it's a universal experience, and yet, some not only endure but also thrive. They embody resilience, a remarkable capacity to bounce back from hardship. It's not just about surviving, but growing, learning, and becoming more than before. Let's explore the journey of overcoming adversity through a series of real-world anecdotes. Imagine a successful business entrepreneur who suddenly loses everything in a market crash. Our protagonist had been riding high on the wings of success. For years, he had been building his empire, brick by brick, with diligence and dedication. He was the embodiment of the American dream, a self-made man who had started from the bottom and ascended to the top of the business world through sheer hard work and determination. His company was thriving, his reputation was solid, and the future seemed brighter than ever. But then came the unimaginable. The market, in its fickle, unpredictable nature, crashed. Stocks plummeted, investments turned sour, and within the blink of an eye, our entrepreneur found himself in the midst of a financial apocalypse. The empire he had painstakingly built crumbled into dust. The wealth he had accumulated evaporated. The success he had enjoyed was snatched away. The dream turned into a nightmare overnight. Imagine the shock, the disbelief, the despair. It was as if the ground had been pulled from beneath his feet. He was floating in a sea of confusion, uncertainty, and loss. All his plans, his ambitions, his dreams seemed to have been swept away in the cruel tide of fate. The immediate aftermath was a harrowing period of introspection. Questions flooded his mind. How did this happen? What went wrong? Is there a way out? The loss was not just financial, it was emotional, psychological. It was a loss of identity, a loss of self. The entrepreneur who once stood tall was now a lost soul, wandering in the wilderness of his own downfall. Yet amidst the wreckage of his dreams, a spark of hope flickered. He realized that he was at a crossroads. He could choose to wallow in self-pity, to become a victim of his circumstances, or he could choose to rise, to fight, to reclaim what was lost. In the face of such devastation, the entrepreneur was left with a choice, to give up or to fight back. Our entrepreneur chose to fight, not because it was easy, but because he believed in the power of resilience. The first step he took was to change his mindset. He understood that failure was not the end, but a new beginning. He adopted a growth mindset, viewing the setback as an opportunity to learn and grow. He reminded himself that success is not linear, that it's full of ups and downs, and that the most important thing is to keep moving forward. Next, he focused on rebuilding his business. He started from scratch, taking lessons from his previous downfall. He analyzed his past mistakes and made sure not to repeat them. He learned the importance of adaptability and flexibility in business. He realized that in order to succeed, he needed to be willing to change his strategies and plans based on the situation. He became more customer-centric, listening to their needs and wants, and incorporating their feedback into his business model. Then he understood the importance of perseverance. He knew that the road to success was not going to be easy. There were going to be obstacles and challenges along the way, but he didn't let that deter him. He persevered, putting in the hard work and dedication required to rebuild his business. He didn't let failure define him. Instead, he used it as fuel to drive him forward. Finally, he recognized the role of support networks. He knew he couldn't do it alone. He reached out to his friends, family, and mentors for guidance and support. He surrounded himself with positive and supportive people who believed in him and his vision. He understood that having a strong support network can make the journey less daunting and more manageable. Through this process, he learned the true meaning of resilience. He understood that resilience is not about avoiding failure, but about learning how to recover from it. It's about bouncing back stronger and wiser from setbacks. Despite the odds, he managed to rebuild his empire, proving that resilience and determination can turn the tide. Now let's consider a different scenario. A young athlete suffering a career-ending injury. Picture a rising star, a gifted gymnast with a future brighter than the gold medals she was destined to win. Her dreams were as high as her leaps, her aspirations as strong as her grip on the uneven bars. She was unstoppable, or so it seemed. But in a blink of an eye, everything changed. During a routine practice, a misstep led to a tumble to a fracture. The fracture, the doctor said, was career-ending, and just like that, the gymnast's world crumbled. The uneven bars she once dominated now became a symbol of her downfall. Her dreams shattered like the bones in her leg. The gymnasium that once echoed with her triumphant cheers now resonated with her silent sobs. In the wake of the accident, she was left grappling with a profound loss of identity. Who was she if not the gymnast, the star, the golden girl? She was thrust into a state of despair, her world spinning out of control. The gym, her second home, became a place of sorrow. The uneven bars, once her friends, now stood as her foes. Her despair was not just about her shattered career. It was about the loss of her purpose, her direction. She had spent her whole life striving to be the best, to stand atop the podium, to feel the weight of a gold medal around her neck. And now, that dream was gone. She was left with a void, an emptiness that seemed impossible to fill. But in the midst of this despair, the athlete had to make a choice. She could surrender to her fate, accept the reality that her gymnastics career was over. Or she could redefine her destiny, find a new purpose, a new dream to chase. She could let her injury define her, or she could define herself despite her injury. In the midst of despair, the athlete had to decide, to surrender to fate or to redefine her destiny. Our athlete chose to redefine her destiny, demonstrating that adversity can be a catalyst for transformation. Picture a woman, an athlete at the top of her game, who suddenly finds herself in a world where her physical prowess no longer defines her. The arena no longer reverberates with the sound of cheering crowds. The medals and accolades are now but a memory, a testament to a life that was. She faced the mirror, the reflection staring back at her a stranger. She was no longer the athlete, she was just her. The struggle was real, the mental battle intense. Days of self-doubt and despair clouded her vision. She questioned her existence, her purpose. But amid the storm of uncertainty, a spark flickered, a spark of adaptability. Adaptability, the very essence of evolution, became her lifeline. She began to see beyond her physical limitations, to explore the vast expanse of her mind, her spirit. She discovered a new world within herself, a world that promised unlimited possibilities. The athlete was gone, but in her place stood a woman of substance, a woman of strength. She had the power to redefine herself, to create a new narrative. Her journey was not an easy one. It was a path strewn with obstacles and challenges. But as she navigated this path, she realized that every stumbling block was a stepping stone towards personal growth. Each failure, each setback was an opportunity to learn, to evolve. She was not just surviving, she was thriving. She began to see her adversity not as a curse, but as a blessing in disguise. It had pushed her out of her comfort zone, forced her to look within, to discover her true potential. She was no longer defined by her physical prowess, but by her resilience, her courage, her adaptability. From the rubble of her old life, she built a new path, showing us that adversity can lead to unexpected opportunities. She had transformed her adversity into an opportunity, a chance to redefine her destiny, and in doing so, she had shown us the true power of the human spirit. Overcoming adversity is not about avoiding the fall, but about learning how to rise. Let's take a moment to reflect on what we've heard today. 2 individuals, 2 falls, 2 rises. Their stories may differ, but the common thread that weaves them together is resilience. Resilience, the ability to bounce back from adversity, is not just about weathering the storm, but about emerging stronger, wiser, and ready to take on the world. It's about perseverance, a steadfastness in doing something despite difficulty or delay in achieving success. It's about pushing through, not because it's easy, but because it's worth it. And let's not forget adaptability. In a world that is constantly changing, the ability to adapt is more important than ever. It's about embracing change, not fearing it. It's about seeing adversity not as a roadblock, but as a detour to a potentially even greater destination. Each hardship, each setback, each failure is an opportunity for personal growth. It's a chance to learn about ourselves, about our strengths and weaknesses, about our passions and our fears. It's a chance to become the best version of ourselves. So, let's not shy away from adversity. Let's face it head-on with resilience, perseverance, and adaptability. Let's embrace the personal growth that comes with each challenge we face. Remember, it's not what happens to us, but how we respond to it that defines our journey. So, how will you respond to your adversity?